Hello everybody, welcome to this video. So in this video I'm going to show you how to build a basic website using HTML and CSS. So this will be a full project and it might take about 3 hours. So in the next 3 hours I'll be your teacher. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram. So if you have any questions, don't forget to go to Discord also because I can talk with you on Discord. Alright, so let's get started. So you see on my desktop I have created this folder. I just named it my website. You can name it anything you want. So inside of that folder I have another folder. So you see I named it images, and when I open that images folder you see I have some images here. So I have placed all of my images here, right? So I'm gonna go back to the main folder. So the program that I'm gonna be using is going to be VS Code. So you have to type in VS Code in Google, alright? So just type in VS Code and you see right here it should come up, and one click on download, and right here you can download VS Code on Windows, or if you are using Linux you can click here, and Mac is right here. So this is it, and I'm going to close this one, and I have already installed VS Code. And once you open VS Code, it's going to look like this. So now I want to click on File at the top and then go to Open Folder. So I'm going to click on Desktop and select my website folder. All right, so this is my websites folder, and I'm going to click on Select Folder. And when I click on that, you'll notice that it's going to show you the Explorer right here. And this is the images folder that we have created. Remember, there was our main folder. It was called My Website. And inside of that one, you see I have my images. All right. So I'm going to close this tab that says Get Started. So I'm just going to close that one. And I can simply hover my mouse between these two windows, and you see I'll be able to click here and make it smaller. So this thing right here is called the Explorer. You can click on it, it will toggle it. All right, so it will toggle the Explorer on and off. So now if I want to bring it back, I'm going to click on the Explorer, and this is our folder. All right, because we have already opened it, so I have clicked on File and then Folder. You remember how we did it? All right, so now we will create our first HTML file. So to do that, you are going to click on this little small plus here. So if you click here, you'll notice that it will create a new file. So now I'm going to call it index.html. So index.html. And I'm going to press enter. You see, when it happens, it's going to show you the HTML file. So right now, before we continue, I want to add an extension to Visual Studio, because I'll be able to simply preview my my website right here at the right side. So to do that, you are going to need to click on extensions. So this is the extensions, and if you click on it, you'll notice that these are all of the extensions. So I want you to search for Live Previewer. All right, so search for Live Previewer and press enter. You should see this one that says Live Preview by Microsoft. All right, so if you click on it, this is the one that you should install. So if you click here, you should click on install. So once you click on install, you are going to close this. All right, and you are going to collapse this window just like that. So now we are going back to Explorer. So we are going to click on Explorer and right click here and go to Show Preview. So once you do that, it will open another window, and this is our HTML page. All right, so this is our website. You see it has nothing yet, but we will add the stuff to build the website. once you get started with this, you are going to collapse the Explorer. All right, so I'm gonna move my mouse here and collapse it. So now at the top, we will be able to simply add an exclamation mark. So I can press Shift number 1. It will add this exclamation mark. And if I press Tab on the keyboard, you'll notice that it will add some code for us. So this is the code that we want. All right, so this is our code. So you see the first one is doc type HTML. So this means that this document is written in HTML5, and this is the HTML language, and it means that the language of our HTML page is English. And you see we have the head. So the head, is where you have all information about your website. So you see this is the UTF-8. It means that it will add the characters correctly. Even if you use another language other than English, it should work. And for this one, this is a little bit complicated right now, so I'm not going to talk about this line. All right, so this is for all browsers such as Internet Explorer, so let's not talk about that one yet. And this is the viewport. I'm not going to talk about this one yet too. But right here you see we have the title, so we will need to give a title to our website. So I'm going to name it My Donuts Shop. All right, so My Donuts Shop. And as I do that, you'll notice at the top it will show you the name of your HTML document. So now I'm going to File, Save. So you see right here, this is the end of the head tag, and right here we have the body tag. So inside of the body tag, you place all of the content here. All right, so you place all content here. And as you do that, if you type something here, you'll notice that it will appear on the browser. But this is not how it goes. So you'll have to, simply add tags. So right here, we are going to use a header. So remember, there is a huge difference between a head and a header. So we are going to type in header because this is going to be the header of our website. All right. And then I'm going to type in, I'm going to add another tag called H1, and I can say welcome to my donuts shop. And if I save it, you'll notice that we have added a title for our website. And don't worry about it, we will style it later. Then below that header tag, I'm going to add another tag called the nav. So we are going to type in nav. All right, then we are going to type in UL, because we want to add an unordered list, then LI, and then A. The A is a link, so I'm going to add a pound sign here for now, and I'm going to say, for example, home page. So you see when you do this, it will add a link here. So I'm just going to copy this LI a couple of times, because I'm going to have a 5-page website. So this is the home page. Next one is going to be album. All right. And the third one is going to be location. All right. So we will add the location. Then right here we will have, or I can say more. All right. So now you see that we have a sense of a navigation here. But you see nothing works because all we have here are pound signs. So nothing will work here, even if you click on a link. All right, but that's how you make a basic navigation. And underneath that, we are going to add our content. So to add our content, we can use something called main. All right, so this is going to be the main content. So I can add an H2 here. All right, so H2, I can say, for example, home page. Home page, and underneath that, we are going to add a little paragraph. For example, welcome to our donuts shop. So donuts shop, right? So we will get to more content later, but you know, this is the setup basically. And under the main, I'm going to use another tag called the footer. So the footer, you add the copyright. So for example, copyright. Of course, you can change this to anything you want. But I'm gonna say copyright, and then I want the copy. I think it's and copy, yeah, and semicolon. So and copy, I can say, you see, it will add this copyright icon. So I can say 2023, something like that. So you see, we have this basic website, and right here, you see, it doesn't have anything. So we will style it, and we will add the content. So I'm not gonna worry about the content now, but I want to add an external sheet. So I want to attach an external sheet here. So I'm going to click on Explorer, and you see this is our index file, which is the main page that loads. So for example, if somebody goes to yourwebsite.com, that person will land on this page because you named it index.html, all right? And that's how it goes. So now we are going to click on this small plus to create another file. And now we will create a CSS file. So I'm going to call it styling. All right, so styling.css and press enter. You see, it will show you an empty CSS file. So this is your CSS file. But now, even if we add the CSS here, it will not affect our index page, our HTML page. Because you see right here, our index.html is not linked to our CSS page. So we will need to add another link here. So we are going to say less than sign. So in the head, all right? So make sure that we are in the head. You see I'm in the head now. So this is the head tag. Let me collapse this real quick. So let me zoom in. You see I have the, so this is the head tag. And inside of the head tag, I'm underneath one of the meta. So you can place it here or here. It doesn't matter. But I usually place it, you know, right after the head, all right? So I'm going to place it here. So I'm going to say less than sign, link, all right? Then space, then rel for relation. So the relation is style sheet, all right? Style sheet. And then space, we are going to say href for linking. Then I'm going to say styling.css. All right, so styling.css, and I'm going to close it. So let me zoom out. Okay, we should be able to add our styling here. And you see, since the name of the file is styling.css, if I add some styling to this style sheet, it should add styling to our website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to add the body. So this is how you, select all of your website. So you type in body, and then you open two curly braces. So the first thing that I test is I change the background color. So I can say background dash color, and you choose whatever color you want. So I'm going to go with, let's see, I want something like corn silk. And as you do that, you'll notice that it will change the background color of our website. So now we have to save it. So go to File and Save. So right now, because we have our H1 here, so you see we have our H1 inside of the header, I can type in header, all right? And I can say, for example, text align center. And as I do that, you'll notice it will center our H1. So that's another thing. If you want to add the font size, I'll not add the font size yet, but I want to change the background color of it. So I can say background color, and I'm going to change it to, let's see, something dark. Maybe I want to go with dark magenta, and then I'm going to add the color. So I'll make the color white. All right. So you see there might be some spacing around it, but it's okay. Let's not worry about it. This is what we have. Okay, so now we will style the navigation bar. So because the navigation bar is inside of the nav, all right, so you see we have added the nav element that represents navigation, and we have a UL with LI. So we are going to select the nav. So nav UL LI. All right, so nav. I'm going to change the background color of the nav first, just to see what's going on. So let me choose a random color. So let me go with crimson. So you see I've changed the background color of our nav, and below it we are going to change the look of the navigation bar. So you see I want it to be horizontal. So now I can say something like nav UL LI, all right, and then display inline. And as you do that, you'll notice that it will show our navigation horizontally instead of vertically. Okay, and then we are going to say, let's see, if I can say text align center, you'll notice inside of the nav, I have added the text align center just to center our navigation. And now we will change the color of the links. So to do that, you type in nav ULLIA, all right, and then you type in color. So I'm going to go with white, all right, and then I'm going to remove the line below it. So to do that, you can say text dash decoration. So decoration. So decoration. All right, colon none. So NONE. So zoom out, you'll notice that it will not have any lines. But this is not what I want. So I want, when I hover over the links, I want to change the color. And to do that, I can basically copy this nav ULLIA and paste it below it. All right. So now what I can do is I can add something called hover. So colon hover. So HOVER. All right. So when I hover it, I want to change the color. So I'm going to change the color. So I can say color, maybe yellow. So yellow. So you see if I hover it, you see how nice it changes the color of our links. So this is how you basically build a basic navigation. And let me add a font size here just to make it look bigger a little bit. So font size, so 25 pixels maybe. Oh, so you see when I hover, you see I'm adding it to the hover, but this is not what I want. I want to add it to the actual one, so at the beginning. So 35 pixels is too much. Let's go about 23 pixels. Okay, so I have the font size here. And there we go. That's what we have. All right. Now let's make our header a little bit bigger. So I can say height 200 pixels. Okay. And maybe you see our text is a little bit aligned to the top. So I can say, for example, padding dash top 20 pixels. You see it will come down a little bit. So let's reduce the height. So I'm going to, because I have added 20 here, so maybe I can change the height to 180. So 180 pixels. So 180 pixels. Still, you see there is a little bit space here, but it's okay. So this is what I have so far. Okay, so instead of, I want the instead of adding the padding here more, I can add some, let's see, I can add some font size to the header. So I can say font size. I can say something like 23 pixels maybe. Yeah, 23 pixels works. So this is what I have, all right? You see, welcome to my donut shop, and I have a navigation here. So now let's go to the footer. So I'm going to type in footer. All right. And I can add the same thing for the header. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing from the header, and I'm going to paste it in the footer. But you see the height, I don't want the height here. So I'm just going to get rid of the height for the footer. And the padding top. So I don't want the padding either. Okay, so you see it says copyright. This is what we have, all right? So you see, now we have a sense of a basic web page. You see we have a header, and we have the navigation. And this will be the information about which page are you on. And we will add some content here later. So now we will continue working on our website. And right here, you see I have some content, but it's not a lot. That's why you see the footer is close to the navigation. So the more content you add, the more that this footer will go down. And before I continue, I would like to make a change here. You see, instead of having contact us and then more, I want to change contact us to delivery. All right, so you see delivery, not delivery. So delivery, just like that. And then this will be contact us, all right? Or just contact. So this is what we have now. That was the only change that I wanted to make. I'm going to file and save to save my navigation. And right here, we are ready to add some images and some graphics to our website. But before I do that, I would like to make pages. So it's time to make other pages. For example, the album, the location, and the delivery. All right. So we will click on Explorer. And now, the easiest way to do it is to copy the index file, since everything is going to be the same. Everything here will be the same. So our website will have the same header, the same navigation, except, we will have different content. So it's a good idea, at this stage to copy the index.html and paste it like 4 more times. So you see, we have total of 5 HTML pages. So I'm going to rename them. So I'm going to rename this one to album.html. Okay, and then this one, I should change it to location.html. And this one, I'll change it to delivery.html. And one more, we have contact.html. Okay, so now we have 5 total pages. If you want to have, if you want to make a 7-page website, you can make more copies basically. But you'll have to change the navigation here. So you see we have the navigation. So our navigation is not working right now. But, before I make the navigation, I would like to go through each page. So I'm going to start with the album, and I'm going to change, this title that says homepage. I'll change it to album. All right. So you see, it will say album, and this one will be contact. So I'm going to change it to contact instead of, homepage. And this will be delivery. So delivery, all right. And this is the main page. I'll keep it as is. I'm not going to touch that one. And for the location, I'll change it to our location. Okay. before we add more style and stuff like that, let's go through the navigation. So let's make our navigation workable. And it's not working now because you see all I have here are pound signs or hashtags. So this is not what I want. I want to add like a link that takes us to, that we can navigate through the pages. So to do that is, you can start anywhere, but I'm going to start with the index.html. So you see right here, I'm going to change this one. So change the first hashtag to index.html because it's going to take us to index.html. All right. And now this one, I'll change it to album.html. This one, location.html. This one, delivery.html. And finally, we have contact.html. Okay, so now I'm going to copy this nav, all right? And I'm going to place our navigation on all other pages. So this is the index. I'm going to take it to album.html, and I'm going to replace the nav here with our new nav. All right, so album, then contact. So I'll replace the nav basically with the one that we have. All right, so I'm just I'll make sure that I add it to all of our web pages. Okay, so now I think I have updated all of them, and let me save all of my pages. So make sure that you save everything here. All right, or you can go to File, Save All. You see, so if you see Save All, it means that it will save all of the pages. So now, if I click on Album, for example, you'll notice that it will change this H1 to Album because this is the album page. And if I click on Location, it will take us to the location. All right, the delivery and the contact. You see, our website is working and our navigation bar works basically. This was another thing, and now we have 5 pages. All right, so we will be able to work on them one by one, and we will continue working on the index page. So I want to go back to the index page. For now, I'm going to close the delivery and all other pages. I'm only gonna keep the index.html and the styling. And you see the styling is attached to all of our pages. That's why you see our web pages, I mean, they look alike. Even, when you navigate, every color should be the same. So now let's go to index.html. And instead of having this, welcome to our donut shop and stuff like that, I can change this one to another ordered list. All right, or UL. All right, so I can say, for example, LI, I can say, so hours, and then I'm going to add another UL here, and then another LI. So hours, so Monday, all right, Monday to Friday, something like that. Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. So another LI, all right. So this will be 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, so you see we have a small list that we will style later. And, right before this home page, where it says home page, I want to add an image. But before I do that, let me talk about the header. So let's add a background image to the header. So I'm going to say background image. All right. So you see we are using CSS. And because we have the header selected already, we'll be able to add the background image easily. So you see I said background dash image. And then I'm going to say URL. And then 2 quotations. So let's see. I think if I put /, you see Visual Studio will show you the list. So we can click on the images folder here, And you see these are all of the images. So I think one of the images that I have is called background. So, or header, yeah, header donut. So you see, if I add the header donut, you see it will be here. And that's what we have, all right? So let's make sure that the background size contains everything. So background size, so background dash size, so background dash size. We are going to say contain. So you see it will contain all of our header. Let's make it repeat, but let's change the width to 100%. So you see when you make it 100%, it will be fully responsive. But you see when it becomes smaller, our header text overlaps with our nav. So we will fix this later. Don't worry about it. We'll make this website responsive. But this is how you add, a background image to the header. And now let's talk about the body. So we are going to the body tag. So go to the body tag. You see this is the body. So this is the body, and we have everything inside of the body tag of our index. So let me add, so below the nav, of course, underneath the main, we can add our divs. So let me add a couple of divs. So I'm going to add 3 divs. So I'm going to say div class left, all right? So this will be the left div. And then I'm going to copy this and paste it 2 more times because we are going to have 3 divs. So middle and right. Okay, so now we have 3 divs, and divs are basically sections. So let me add some content that says left and middle and right. Okay, so now let's go to the styling and let's style those divs. So first I'm going to start with the div left. So I'm going to say dot left. All right. I'm going to change the background color to a different color. Let's go with something hot pink. Okay, so you'll just see what's going on. So I'm going to copy this for the other ones too. So this will be middle and right. Okay, so now you see we have 3 divs, and let me change the color to a different color just so you'll see what's going on there. We'll have 3 different colors. All right. Okay, so we have 3 divs and they are all stacked. So let me float the first one to the left. So float left. Okay, and this one, to center it, all you have to do is you say margin dash right auto. All right, and margin dash left auto. Okay, and you see it's already in the middle. So display, let's say inline block. So inline dash block, and as you do that, it will become smaller. And now for the div right, we'll just use float right. All right, so you see our little div is there. So now let's give each of them a width. So I'm going to say width. Let's see. So if we divide 100, so from the left side of the screen all the way to the right is 100. And if you divide 100 by 3, it's going to be 33.33%. All right, so width. I'm going to add the same width to all of them. So you see we have 3 divs that are next to each other. And now let's give them some height. So it's a good idea to add a height for now. So I'm going to say 400 pixels. So all of them, all right? Okay, so now you see we have 3 divs. And this is what we have so far, basically. 3 divs that are next to each other. And yeah, this is about it. So we will try to find a better image for the header. All right, so I don't like the background image because it's, I don't know, it's pinky, and the color here, the color that we have here does not work out with it. So it's kind of hard to read the H1. So we will try to find a better way to display this. So I'll either change the background image, or we will be able to add some font or a different styling to the header. So right now we will go to our styling. All right, so this is our styling, and we are at the line 59. Okay, so before I continue working on our website now, I want to make some changes to the header. So I want this image to stay there, I don't want it to move when I resize it. So I'm going to change something in the header. So you see I have the background size contain, so I can change it to cover basically. All right, so I want it to be covered, and you see when I zoom in and zoom out, you see it moves. So we will add another property. We will call it background attachment. So background dash attachment, make it fixed. All right, so now you see it's a little bit nicer, and if I view it on a browser, so let me just view it on Chrome, you'll notice that our background image is fixed. So we will change the image later, but let's not worry about that one. So I want to talk about the sections, and we will add some content here. So we are still working on the home page, by the way. And right here we are going to the code. So in the previous video, that I recorded, I remember that there was a duplicate of navigation. I think it was in the location HTML. So let me just go to the location.html, and you see I have two navs here. So you see I have two and tags, so I'm gonna get rid of one of them because I don't want it to be repeated. All right, okay, so I have taken care of that. Now let me close that one. Okay, so I'm going to collapse the Explorer. All right, and now we are going to the index.html. So I want another image, to appear here. So below the navigation, I want another image. So this is the end of our nav, and inside of the main page, you see it's where it says home page. We will go below that one. Okay, so below the H2, I'm going to add an image source, and as I said, you just add // and it will show you the suggestions. So I'm going to click on the images folder, and these are all of the images. So let me add the buffet.jpg. All right, so I have the buffet.jpg, but you see it's so huge. So we will need to resize it. So to resize this image, I'm gonna give it a class, and I'm gonna say main buffet. All right, so main buffet. All right, and to style it, I'm going to select it. So dot main buffet. All right, and I'm going to say width. So the width I want it to be 100%. All right, so you see when I make the width 100%, it's going to stay there, and it's going to resize no matter how huge I go. The image will keep resizing. So it's a good idea to add a max width here. So max width, I can make it 500 pixels, for example. So it will not become larger than 500 pixels. But you see when I do this, it will be aligned to the left. So I can add a margin dash left to center it. So margin left auto, and margin dash right auto. All right. You see that still not centered, so you can say display block, and as you add the display block, your image will be centered. So this is the buffet. All right, so we have added the buffet here, and there is nothing fancy about it, just a normal image, and it's not becoming larger. But you see, if I view it on a smaller screen, you see it's responsive. All right, that's something that I wanted to do now, and this is what we have basically. So we have that basic welcome to my donut shop, and then when you go down, you see I have the navigation and the home page, the hours, and I have some empty sections here that we will change. So, it's not a good idea to add these colors, so I'm gonna get rid of those colors. Alright, so I'm gonna get rid of those background colors from all of them. We don't want them. Okay, and let's add a border around it. So border, I'm gonna say 2 pixel solid gray. Alright, so should be something like that, but maybe 2 pixels is, I'm gonna make it 0.5 pixels. It's like a small frame. So I'm gonna add the same thing to all of them. So to the middle and to the right. So where is it? Okay. So okay, you see now we are adding this border, and as we add the border, you see what's going on is you see our layout breaks. So when the layout breaks, you have to make a decision. So we have to go all the way up to the style sheet, and you'll have to reset the style sheet. So to reset it means we will have to just add our calculation correctly. So we are going to say asterisk and then open 2 curly braces. All right, and then we are going to say, for example, box dash sizing border box, and as you do that, you'll notice that your layout will come back to life, and you see our layout is correct now, because otherwise it uses a default size. So that's why I have added the asterisk and then box sizing border box, so it will not add the border to the width of your divs. So now we are going to select all of these lines. I can I'll center them, but before I do that, let me see if I can add or change. I want to change this background color here, so the corn silk, you see we have corn silk. I can just type in hash FFF and it will be a white color. You see it's really nice to have a white color. So because you see, I think we have some dark colors here, and therefore we are using it's better to use a light background with dark graphics and stuff like that. If you use a light background, you should use dark a dark text and stuff like that. But if you use a light text, if you use a dark background, you should use light text and so on. I hope that you understand something now, because you see we have to pay attention to what it looks like. So we have a basic website now. You see it's basically nothing yet, but you see we will add some stuff inside of our divs, and so far we have about 69 lines of code, which isn't bad, because the more styling you add, we might get to 200 or 300 lines of styling, but hopefully it will not go crazy. So I'm thinking of adding some Google fonts in the next video. So we will add some Google fonts, and then of course we will add a form. We will add the form to the contact page, and yeah, so everything on our website is subject to change, because right now you see this is all just planning. So we are just looking at the layout, and we are looking at the things. So right here, on the left div, I'm going to add some content there, and to do that, I'm gonna add an H3. So I'm going to say h3. All right. So h3 tag. I'm going to say order our finest coffee. Our finest coffee. Okay. Something like that. And then I'm going to add an image of, the coffee drink. So let me add an image of the coffee. So I think I have a coffee there. So coffee.jpg, yeah. So the width for this one, so I'm gonna add a class to it. I'll call it coffee, all right? So I'm gonna select the coffee image. So I'm going to say dot coffee. So coffee, all right? And I'm going to say width. And let's see. So the width of this container is 33.33%. All right. So let's see. So let's see if I am selecting it correctly. So class. Oh, I should add two F's here. Okay. So you see I have added the 33.33% here. But you see the image of the coffee is small. I mean, the size, the width is small. So first of all, let's, center it. So I'm going to add the margin auto and display block to it. All right. Now we will add the width of 160 pixels to it. All right. So you see, it's a nice image that appears here. And then I'm going to add a paragraph underneath that image. So I'm going to the next line and I'm going to add a small paragraph. All right. So I'm going to add a random lorem ipsum text. So, or the dummy text. So lorem ipsum best coffee or something like that. So I'll skip this, Okay, so far we have this dummy text, it doesn't make sense, but you can type something that makes more sense to you. But this is basically it, all right? So I have added this image here with this text below it. It could describe, your whatever you have. So for example, it could be something about the coffee that you have or the product that you have there. What I'm going to add this here, I'm going to say title. So I'm going to add a class name to this h3. All right, so let me zoom in. So I'm going to add a class to this h3 on line 45, and I'm going to call it section-title. All right, so I'm going to copy that name and go to the style. So I'm going to say dot section-style or title. All right, so section-title, I'm going to say text align center. Okay, so you see that has been aligned center. So you see this H3 over here, I have centered it. So you see when I make it smaller, the width becomes, it overflows, so it gets into the other div. So you see my image, when I make it smaller, it goes into div middle, and that's not what I want. So let's go to the CSS now. Let's see if we can fix it. So the width, I can make it 100 pixels, 100% actually. Yeah, so you see 100%. When you make it 100%, it's going to be 100%. All right. And yeah, this is it. Maybe we can add some margin around it, but I think it's good for now. All right, so I'm happy with it. I'll let it be like that, and you see our text. You see now the same thing is going on with our paragraph. You see it's overflowing the footer. So that's because we have a height somewhere maybe. So let me take a look at the left. You see we have the height. So if we delete the height, it will just, it will stretch based on the content that you have. So let's view this on a web browser. So I'm going to copy this URL from the previewer, and I'm going to Chrome, and I'm going to paste it here. So you see, this is what I have. So this, I'm viewing my website on a huge screen. So you see, that's why this image is so huge. But if I make it smaller, you see, it looks good. You see, this is what it looks like. You see, this is what I have. But you see, my footer is up here. So let's see what's going on. Let me save this. So let me review it. You see the footer? Oh, okay. Maybe I should clear the float. So where's the footer? So footer, I'm going to say clear both, which means go underneath all of my divs. So I added clear colon both to the footer. And if we take a look at it, you'll notice that our footer is now all the way down. Okay, sounds good. So this is what we have. And now let's go to the one in the middle. We will do the same thing. We'll have the title and the image and the paragraph. So let's go to the index.html. And this is the middle. All right, the one in the middle, the div middle. We will work in that one now. So right now we will place everything inside of div left, in div middle, and div right. So I'm gonna copy the content of div left, all right, and I'm going to place it inside of div middle, and I'll also place it inside of div right. So you see, we have 3 divs and they're all alike. So this is not what I want. I'll make some changes here. I'll not pay attention to the text or the paragraphs, but we will definitely need to change the images. So I'm going to change the second image. So you see, instead of saying coffee, this will be called pretzels.jpg. And you see a picture of pretzels will appear because I have an image called pretzels.jpg. And also, for the last one, I'm going to change it to ice cream. I think it's ice cream, right? So I think there's an image that's called ice cream. So dot / and then go to images, and I think I have an image. So bucket. How about if I add bucket? Yeah, I can say donuts. Yeah, so I can have donuts there. It's not ice cream. I'll place a donut there. So you see, we have 3 divs and they are all alike. But if we make a change, so I'm going to change this one to pretzels. So pretzel, order our finest pretzels, all right. So you see it says order our finest pretzels, and then for the third one, I'm going to change it, order our finest donuts. Okay, so you see now the paragraphs are all the same. So that's why you see they don't look nice, but that's what we have now. And you see we have 3 images that are next to each other. Let's see if we can add some paragraphs to all of them. So let's go to styling, and inside of styling I have all of them here, dot left, dot right, and you see we have all of them here. I can add the padding to all of them one by one, but I can say, for example, dot left and then space, and the comma, please, yeah, then comma, then dot middle, comma, and dot right. So we are going to select all of them all at once. All right, so dot right, and I'm going to open 2 curly braces, and I can say padding. Let me add padding of 5 pixels to all of them. So you see there's an empty space around. You see inside of our div there's a space between the content and the edge of the border. So you see it's nicer now, and I don't know, it looks a lot nicer this way. So now this is what we have, and we have added 3 columns, you know. And if we hover, you see nothing changes, but we will definitely change the background color of these divs. So I can do that. You know, as I said before, everything is subject to be changed. So you know, we will change a lot of things until we get to the end of this video. And so far we have been only focusing on the main page. So this is only the home page, all right? We still have to work on the album, the location, the livery, and the contact page. So it's better if you go slowly and make everything right than going quickly and making a lot of mistakes on your way. So far, our sailing has been smooth, all right? So we have not had any problems on our way. We have set up the layout and we have placed some content here. But you see, our content still doesn't have a lot of effects except when we hover over the nav bar. And of course, we will use Google fonts, but I'm gonna leave that for later, and that will be close to the end. And let me just view this on a huge browser, because you know, taking a look at this on a smaller browser is different than looking at it on an actual browser. So this is how it looks on a 27-inch monitor. So you see, it looks really nice. I mean, our divs, they look great. We will add, of course, we will change the font size and we'll give it better font size, and we'll move the list, we'll move this list down below, and probably, you know, since making this, I mean, this image looks relatively small. If you look at it screen, it's going to look perfect, but on a 27-inch or a 42-inch screen, it's going to look a little bit small. So we'll be able to adjust that, you know, using a media query. And let's go to inspect element for now. So I'm using Google Chrome, by the way, and you know, if you click on Google Chrome and if you go to inspect, you'll be able to change the size. So this is, you see the width of the screen. So you see it's, if you click on this arrow down, you'll be able to take a look at it on a different device. So I can change it to iPhone 12 Pro. So if we look at it on iPhone, this is how it looks. And you see it's a little bit broken here, but it's okay. You know, we'll be able to fix this. Yeah, I think we'll have to add some height here to the last one. Otherwise it looks nice, but the navigation also, we'll change it to a different navigation. Let's change it to a different device, maybe iPad mini. So this is on iPad mini. This is how it looks. It looks okay. It looks nicer than on the iPhone, except there is, you see, there is the header. I don't like the color of the header, and I told you that I will change this. We will find a better one, and I'm gonna keep it for later. So now I think it's a good idea to take a look at it. So let's go back to VS Code, and I'm going to index now. Okay, and let me add some other stuff, because there is one attribute that I want to use. So you see, for the image, for example, this image, you see it says buffet. There is an attribute that you should use. It's called alt. So this alt attribute basically helps people who have disabilities. For example, some people might listen to your website, they may not look at it, or if the image doesn't load for some reason, it will show the text. All right, so you can say this is our buffet. All right, so this is our buffet, and you know, you can add these to all of the images, because these are the images that are main part of our website. So these are the main images. I'm going to add an alt here, so alt, and I'm going to say, for example, our finest coffee cup. All right, our finest coffee cup. Just add it. So with the alt, basically, you just add a description to images. All right. So with this one, we are going to say alt, and we are going to say our donut. All right. So our donuts. So it's funny because they all have the same class called coffee. So you see, I have named it in my styling. I named it coffee. So where's the coffee? I have probably, yeah, it's right here. You see, I named it coffee, but I'm applying the same styling to all of my divs. So instead of changing it to coffee, I can maybe rename it to something else, to main card or something like that. So I'm gonna quickly do that. So I'm gonna say dot main card. All right, so main card. So this is the main card, and right here we are going to change coffee in all of them. So instead of having class coffee, we are going to say class main card now. All right, so main card to all of them, because coffee doesn't make sense, because these are not only coffee. You see, each of them have a different content. So let me add the main coffee here. So let me make sure that is the same. Okay, so now we are back to our normal styling. All right, so this is what we have so far, and I think we will start with the album page, and then we will talk about the location. So with the location, we'll just add a paragraph that shows a location or something like that, and make sure that you save everything. So go to file and make sure that you click on save all, so all of your styling and all of your HTML will be saved. All right, so now we will open the albums page. So if I click on Explorer, I can click on album.html, and I'm going to close index.html because I'm not going to work in index, but I'll view it on album, and I'm going to click on album here. All right, so this is what we have on album, and then we will work on the album page now. So now we are in main tag. You see, this is the body. So this is the body, and we are working in the main underneath our nav, and you see we have this h2 that says album, and underneath that h2 we have this paragraph. So for right now, if we take a look at it, you see this is the paragraph. So I want to get rid of that paragraph. All right, and I'm going to add an image basically. So I'm going to say image, so img space, then we are going to say src for source, then equals to two quotations. And now if I put dot / you see it will show me the list. So now I can click on images, and you see these are all of my images that I can use. So I'm going to go with the crumbs. So you see we have the crumbs here, and I can add a class here. So I can say before I add the class, I'm going to add the alt actually. So right here I can add the alt. So I can say alt equals to two quotations, and I can add a small description. For example, I can say crumbs donuts. Okay, and we are going to give it a class. I'll call it album, so album dash image dash img. Okay, so now if we zoom out, you see we have added an image here, but it's so huge. So we will be able to restyle it. So before I style it, I'm going to add the other images underneath this one. So I'm going to copy the image and paste it. I think I have 4 other images that I can add here. So let me change the source here. All right. So we'll change it to a different one. So this will be images, and I'm going to add the flower donuts. Okay, so this will be flower. So flower. Okay, flower donuts. Okay, and we'll do the same thing to the third one. So I'm going to say dot forward slash, go to images, and I'm going to add the classic. All right, so we have the classic also, and we will go to the last one, doing the same thing, just changing the source. So I'm going to go to the let's see, I think it's called hot chocolate. See, I want the hot chocolate to be here. And there is another image that I can add, but I'm not going to do it for now. So for now, I'll just, work with my 4 images, and I'm going to style them all together. So you see, I have album-image, and I'm going to copy that class, and I'm going to the CSS. So at the end, right here, I can say dot, and then album-image, and open two curly braces. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I add the width. So I'm going to say width, let me say 400 pixels. So you see we have them here, and let me add the margin dash left auto, so margin dash left auto, and margin dash right auto, so margin dash right auto. Okay, and also I'm going to I want this to be aligned center, so I'm going to say display block. So you see all of my images are here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some spacing between them. So I'm going to say padding dash top, so padding dash top colon, and let me add about 20 is too much, so let's go about 13 pixels. So you see each of them has a space around it, and I'm going to add some border. So border 2 pixels solid, so solid gray. All right, so we have a gray color here, just so you'll see what's going on. You can change the color of the border to another color, and I'm going to go with something pink. All right, I want something pink. So you see we have our donuts here, and let me change the border to 0.6 pixels, so 0.6. You see we'll have a little border there. All right, so our images are centered, and let's save this. So go to file and then save, and I'm going to album.html. Now for each of them I'm going to add an h4 underneath each of them. All right, h4. So I'm going to add the h4 here, so h4, and this will be crumbs. All right, so these are just the titles of our images. All right, so actually I want the title to appear right above it, not below it. So I'm going to move this h4 right above the image. All right, so I place it this one, so this one is crumbs. Then I'm going to place one here that says flower donuts. All right, so flower, and this one I'm going to change it to, let's see, so we'll change the alt also. You see we have some alt, the same alt here 3 times, so we'll have to change that. But I'm going to change this one to classic donuts. All right, classics. And finally, we will do the same thing for the hot chocolate. Hot chocolate. Okay, so now let's change the alt. So we have crumbs, and this one is flour. This one should be changed to classics. All right, so classics. So classics donuts. And this will be the hot chocolate. So hot chocolate. Cool. So now if we zoom out, you see each of them has this H4, and we will simply align that center. But to do that, we'll have to give it a class name. So I'm going to add the class name title. I'm going to say actually album title. So album dash titles. All right. So album dash titles, and I'm going to give the same class to all H4s. All right. Because we want to style them. Okay. So now we will go to the styling, and we're on line 91. We are going to say dot album dash title. So we are going to say dot album dash titles. All right, and then we are going to say text align center. So you see, as we do that, it will align it center. All right. So let's see. Let me add some font size here. So font dash size. Let me go about 23 pixels. All right. And so far we have not used any. I have noticed that we have not used any font families. But you see, this is what we have. We have a basic image. And let's see. I don't think that we will need the padding top here because we have these texts. These H4s between our images. So I'm going to get rid of padding dash top. All right. So you see now there is some spacing between our images. And this is it. And we will, I think I have some more images that I'll be adding here. But you see at the very bottom, I'm not sure what happened to our footer. So what happened to the footer? Did I delete it mistakenly? Yeah, I think I have done that mistakenly. So you see right here, I don't see the footer. So I want to have the footer at the end. So I'm going to open my index.html, and I'm going to copy my small footer right here. I'm going to place it inside of the album at the very end. And you see our main is here. So everything that we did should go inside of main. And I'll do it now. So you see, I'm going to place this one here, my footer here, and I'm going to move all of my images and H4s inside of the main. So this is how it should go. All right. So now this is what we have. And at the end, you see we have our footer there. All right. So this is the album.html, by the way. All right. And at the very top, you see the title for all of the pages says my donut shop, my donut shop. That's not what we want. So for example, this is the album. All right. So we can say my donut shop dash album. All right. So you see now at the top, when we open it on a browser, so let me open it on a browser. I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to place it here. You'll notice that at the very top it says my donut shop dash album, which means that we are on the albums page. And if we click on home page, you will see it just says my donut shop. So this is how it should look like. All right. So now let's go to the code again, and I will just go to main line 49, and yeah, we are inside of the album.html. So let me just delete these empty spaces. All right. And there is a trick that formats your code actually. So you can press Alt Shift F and it will format the code for you. So you see your code looks a lot nicer now because we have formatted it. So all you have to do on Visual Studio Code is you press Alt Shift F. And I think on Mac, on a Mac, you press Option Shift F because Option is Alt. All right. So it's equivalent for Alt. So yeah, this is it. And make sure that you click on File and then Save All. So right now we will continue working on our website, and you see at the top we only have the home page, and if we click on album we have added 4 images here, and this is basically what we have. So we can do more. There's a lot more to add, and we will add more styling to our website, and it will look better as we build our website. So now, I instead of going to the location and the delivery page, I'm going to work on the contact page. All right. So I'm in the contact page, and right here, I'm going to go to the Explorer to open the contact.html. And I'm going to close the album for now and the index. Okay. So I'm going to drag this contact HTML here. So it will be placed next to the other one, and I'll have my browser. All right. So now, again, this is our main content. Okay, so I'm going to delete this paragraph, and we will add a basic form. So to add a form, all you have to do is you say, for example, less than sign form. All right. So you type in form just like that. And then there are 2 other parts, and you can use some other attributes. So the first thing that I do is I add the action. So the action equals to quotation. So this means when I click on send or submit, it should take me to another page. It will be called process.php or something like that, that processes your form and sends the information to us. All right. This form or this page will process that data and it will send it to us. All right. But for now, I'm going to add a pound sign, and then we will talk about the action later. And then the method. So there are a couple of methods, but the most popular one is a post. So you can type in post. All right. So method equals to post. Or you can use method equals to get. So instead of adding post here, you can say get, but let's not worry about it. So you can use either one, but I'm gonna use post for now. And I'm going to open my form. So you see I have a form tag. This is the opening of the form tag, and this is the ending. So now inside of the form, we can add some parts to the form. So the first thing that I add is, I can add my inputs. So now we will type in input. And if you type in just input, and if you press tab or click on it, you see it will give you this basic input. This is input type text. And if we take a look at our page, you see it's an empty box that you can enter something. All right. So hello or whatever. So it's it's a text input. And I'm going to add a placeholder here. So I'm going to say placeholder equals to, and then you can say enter your name. So enter your name. Okay. And we are going to add another one. So I'm going to say enter your first name actually. So this will be first name. All right. So enter your first name. And then the next one should be, you see this is another one. So I just copied and pasted the input, and you see we have enter your first name here too. So we will change this one to enter your last name. Or instead of saying enter, I'm going to get rid of enter because we don't need to add enter at all, okay? So, because it's a form and people will understand that they have to enter something. So I'm not going to say enter, I'm just going to say first name and then last name. All right, so first name, your last name. So last name. Cool. All right, so you see we have the last name here. So right here, you see that our input fields are placed next to each other. Well, we'll be able to place them, underneath each other by placing the BR tag. So you can type in BR here, and as you notice, it will place it underneath it. But that's not what I'm going to do. Instead, we will use some CSS, and that's the easiest way. So for now, I'm going to add a class here. I'm going to say first name. So first. All right. So class last. Okay, so we have the first name, last name, and then we will have the city. So input, I'm gonna just copy the whole thing. So the city, the state, all right, and the zip code. So this one will be the city. So city, state. All right, let me just make sure that I change the class also. So the type should be text, but you see for the state is also going to be a text, but you see for the zip code, this should be a number. So instead of saying input type equals to text, we can say a number because we want people to only be able to enter numbers inside of that input field. So you see in the city, I can type in anything I want. But the last one, you see, it says placeholder last name. So this should be zip code. So zip code. All right, so this will be state. I just want to make sure that everything is correct. So class zip code. Okay, so now you see if I go to the zip code, for example, I'll not be able to type in any letters, but I'll be able to add some numbers. All right. So, oops, where did I go? Okay, so this is what we have so far. I know it doesn't look nice, but we will style it in a second. So you see, we have a basic form here, and where's the deliver? So there should be a button that says deliver, and to add a deliver button, you can type in input. All right, so input. Oh, what did I do? So you type in listen sign input. All right, then type. This should be submit. So submit, if you just take a look at it, you see it doesn't have an ending tag. It's a unique tag. And if we take a look at it, you see there's a button, and when you click on it, nothing happens because we don't have anything in the action. So if I say, for example, index.html, all right, so if I change the action to index.html, when I click on submit, it will take me back to the index.html. So now you understand what's going on when you click on submit button. And because you see we have the action, I changed it to index.html. It means that whenever I click on submit, process this form and send it to the index.html. But you see in the index.html, we don't have anything. So that's why I just put a pound sign here, so it will not work. And I'm not going to worry about it, but I'll just style this form right now. So we have all of our inputs, and let's go to the styling.css. But before I go to styling.css, I'm going to file and save. So I want to save my contact.html. All right. Okay. And in the styling, you see I'm on line 93. I'm going on line 94. All right. So I'm on 94. And I can basically say form, so form, to select all of my form, and I can open two curly braces, just like that. And if I say display block, let's see what's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen because our form is set. Our form is set to be blocked, but we have to check them one by one. And the easiest way to do it is to say input, all right, input. And as you say input, and if you set it to display to block, you'll notice that they'll all be stacked, all right? So now, let's see if we can send this to center. Let's see if we can center it. So I can say, for example, margin dash left auto. So margin dash left auto. And margin. So before I add the margin left, let's see if it's all the way right. So you see now, it's actually, yeah, it's centered because you see, this is our form and this is the edge of our form. So let me add a border around the form. So let me go here and say form. All right, let me add a border around it. So border 2 pixels, solid black, just to see what's going on. So you see, this is our form and our input is basically, our input fields are here. And I said the margin to auto, so that's why it's centered. All right, so you see everything is centered. So now let's add some padding here. So let's add some spaces between the input fields. So I'm going to say input and I'm going to say padding about 8 pixels. So 8 pixels. So now we have some padding here. You see there's some spacing around it. You see at each input field we have some space inside, and I can add some margin also to the input. So I can say margin. So margin, let me add 5 pixels. So 5 pixels. Oops, where's the semicolon? Okay. So now as I do that, you see I say okay. So this is what I did wrong. So I should say margin dash top. Margin dash top. Okay, so you see there will be some space between them. All right, so far so good. We have this basic form, and whenever I click on submit, it doesn't do anything because I have added the hash. So I have added the hash to the action. All right. So I'm not going to worry about the action page now, but I think I'll work on it in the later videos. And now we are going to style the submit button. And you noticed, if we take a look at the form that we have, you see for each of them I have given it a class, and for the submit I can add a class here too. So I can say class submit. All right, submit. So now I'll be able to easily style this submit button. So I'm going to go to styling and I'm going to type in dot submit. All right, and right here we are going to change the color. So the first thing that I do is I change the color to something else. So you see I changed it to red just to see that it's working, and you see it works now. So let me change it to a dark crimson color. All right, so I want the background to be a dark crimson, but I want the color to be white. So I'm gonna type in color #FFF 3 times. All right, so it will be white, and you see it's white. And let me add a background color. So I'm gonna say crimson. So you see we have a nice bottom there, and let me add some width here. So I'm gonna add some width. So width about 90 pixels. All right, so save and take a look at it. You see we have a nice submit button. So now I want to add something to my HTML form. It's called the field set and the legend. And you see we have our form here, but there is something called field set and legend. So with field set and legend, you'll be able to separate the sections of your form. So for example, this will be personal info. So I'm going to say, for example, field set. All right, so field set, and I'm going to wrap up my whole form here. So I'm going to wrap up my whole form inside of that field set. So you see inside of the form, I have the field set here. And if we take a look at it, it will show another border around it. And let me get rid of the border around the form. So you see I have this border form. I'm going to get rid of it. So if I save these and take a look at it, you'll notice that there is another border around it. All right. So now we have added that default field set, and we are going to use something called the legend. So the legend basically will say, okay, what does this part do? For example, I can say a legend. All right. So legend, I can say, for example, personal info. And if we take a look at it, you'll notice that it says personal info up here. All right. So that's basically it about this one. So you separate the sections of your form, and people will be able to tell the difference between the form and what does this form do. So instead of saying personal info, I can say delivery. So, or yeah, delivery, like that. Cool. All right. So I have decided to change the delivery here. Instead of saying delivery in the legend, I want to change it to actually enter your personal information. Or I can say, for example, contact us. So it's up to you. But I'm going to just say personal info. So personal info. Okay. And if you take a look at it, you see we have personal info up here. So now we have this basic form that says first name, last name. And what you see, we don't have a box for a message. So we want to add a small box for our message. So instead of saying input, this one is a little bit different. The text box is called text area. So if you go to text area, you can give it a name and ID. So I'm not going to give it any names or IDs now. And you see it has 30 columns and 10 rows. So if you take a look at it, you see we have a small box here. And I want to center it here. So I want to move it, I want to center it. So I can give it a class name. So I'm going to add a class name. So I'm going to say class. I can say text area. All right. And now if I go to the CSS and go to my styling, I can say dot text area and then two curly braces. So I can, the first thing that I do is I set the display to block, right? And margin auto. So if you if you take a look at it, you see that it will be centered. So now there is some space here. I want to add some space here. Actually, I want to move this box under, this submit button underneath this text area. So to do that, I'm going to the contact.html, and you see I have my text area here, and I have my submit button. So I'm gonna cut this. So I'm gonna press Ctrl X to cut it, or you can press right click and go to cut. All right, and then I'm gonna delete this empty line, and I'm going to the line be under text area. So under the text area, and I'm going to place it there. So you see I have my button underneath the text area. And now if we take a look at it, you see that I have my button here and I have the text area here. Right here, you see it's an empty box. So I can say, for example, enter your message or something like that. So I'm going to add the placeholder here too. So placeholder, and I'm going to say enter your message. And if I save it, so go to file, save, and if you take a look at it, you see it says enter your message. Your message, not you. I typed in you, so I'm gonna say your message. So Y-O-U-R. All right, enter your message. Okay, and let's add some spacing. So I'm gonna say margin top. So you see, I want to add some space between the zip code and the enter your message, where it says you enter message. I can say, for example, margin dash top. So margin dash top. I can say, for example, 2 pixels. So let's see if there is some space there now. Let's add more. Let me change it to 10 pixels. Okay, it's not working because because you see I'm setting it to auto here. So I have to change this one to margin dash left auto. All right, and margin dash right auto. Margin dash right auto. And you see I have margin top 10 pixels. So if we take a look at it now, you see it works. Okay, so this is our basic form, and this is what we have. So right here, what I'm gonna do is, I can go to the delivery page, and right here on the delivery page, we will start to working on the delivery.html. But before I do that, I'm going to go to File, Save, all right? And then I'm going to go to Styling. Also, I'm going to File to Save, because I want to save my code. So now, as you notice, this is what we have. Okay, so we have a basic home page. All right, we have this home page here, and we have this album. Right here, you see the location. I don't have anything for the location and the delivery. And in the contact page, we have the form here. I can add a phone number here under the contact, but I'll do it later. So I'm not going to worry about it, but I just wanted to make this form right now. Okay, so now let's go to delivery, and we will work in the delivery page. Okay, and for the delivery page, you see, I want to add 3 divs next to each other, but we have already placed 3 divs next to each other on the main page or on the home page, so it's a good idea to just go to the index.html, and from the index.html, we can copy those divs. So you see, I have the main here. So I'm going to copy the divs inside of the main. All right, so we are going to copy those. So let me just copy my divs. All right, so you see, I don't want to add the buffet, but I want to add all of my divs. Okay, so I'm going to copy my divs here from the index, and I'm going to go to the contact.html, and I'm going to place it inside of the main. So you see, this is the main, and so this is the contact. I don't want to work in contact. I want to go to delivery, because you see right here we are working on delivery. So I'm going to close the contact page, and I'm going to click on Explorer, and I'm going to open delivery. So this is the delivery page, and I'm going to replace the paragraph with my divs. All right, so you see we have 3 divs, and I'm gonna change the content here. So I'm gonna get rid of the content. All right, so I'm going to keep the section title, but I'm going to get rid of the images and the paragraphs. So no images and no paragraphs. All right, so no images and no paragraphs. Okay, so you see it says order our finest pretzels, donuts, and so on. We can change this to something else. So this will be just order now. So order now. Order now. Okay. And I'm going to add this to all of them. Cool. So you see I have an extra greater than sign there. Okay, so I just got rid of that one. And this is what I have basically. Alright, so you see we have an extra greater than sign. So let's get rid of that one too. It's right here. Let me just delete that one and zoom out. Okay, so this is what we have. Alright, so we have 3 order now basically. So we will add another input field up here that says deliver to. All right, so we can do that. So let's go to the top of our section. You see where it says delivery. So above our divs, we are going to basically add this an input field. So I'm going to say input type text. All right, so I'm just going to add an input here. So it should be like that, and I'm going to add some text here. So I'm going to say deliver to. So yeah, because this is going to, so I want this to be like an H3 or H5 actually. So H5, all right, this is deliver to. All right, so it should say deliver to, and I want it to appear next to this input field. So you know, the easiest way to do it is to add this input field class name. So class, I'm going to say inline. All right, and I'm going to add the same class to the H5. This is inline, but let me move this one down so you'll see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of that empty space, and this is what we have. So I have given it inline, and I'm gonna give it to the H5. But you see, I want this H5 to appear before it, so I'm gonna place it right above it. So right above the input. Right? So this is what I have. Deliver to, and then we have this empty input field. So I want this input field to be displayed next to the other H5. So I'm gonna, you know, they have the same class name. You see, this H5 has I have given it the class inline, and I have given it to this input also. So let's go to styling, and at the very end we are going to say dot inline to select those, and then display inline. So now let's save it and let's view it. So you see it's appearing right here. So I can say display inline, and you see I have this, I have the other divs around it, so that's not what I want. So let's move those divs down so I can add a break here right after it. So oops, I added under, so I should add it underneath that. So you see these are my divs, and I'm gonna place the break here. Oops, what did I do? Okay, sorry about that. What happened? So I want to add a break here. Yeah, so you see this is the H5. This is delivered to. So, okay, why do I have them repeated? Okay, that's not what I want to add. So I want to add a break. So we are going to add a break between where it says delivered to and inline and right here. So we're going to say BR. Okay, so now you see it looks a little nicer. So let's add another break. So if I add another break, it should move it down more. You see it adds some space here. Okay, so it says delivered to, but I want this input to be a little, I want it to have more width. So I can say width here, all right, about 400 pixels. 400 px. Okay. And now you see right here it says deliver to, and you enter the address. So I can say enter the address. So let's go to the input field where it says input, and I'm going to say placeholder. I can say, for example, enter your address or something like that. So usually, this might be, syntactically incorrect because we are just adding the input here without a form. So this input should be placed inside of a form, but I don't care right now. I will do it later. So now I have that input there, and let's add some images. So you see right here it says order now, and right below it I can say, for example, I can add a paragraph that says order on my hub. I'm just gonna make some imaginary names, all right? And this should be order on olives, all right? So these are the delivery services. Let's say that they are services, or imaginary. I mean, these are imaginary companies, and I'm just adding making names. So I can say order on ready. Ready. Okay. So now our text, you see, it's not aligned. So I want this text to, be centered like the ones over here. So I can basically copy the class and give it to these paragraphs also. So you see, as I have added that class here, it has centered the text underneath it. So I'm going to add it for the other ones also. Okay. So right here, this is what I have. It says order on ready, order on olives, and order on my hub. Now I'm gonna add some buttons. So I'm gonna add a button here. So let me say button. All right, so button, just a button here that says click to order. All right, click to order, and I'm gonna copy this button and place it underneath the other paragraphs. So you see we have 3 buttons here, and I always want to add the same styling. So you see I have, for the button, I think I have this for the submit button. Yeah, it says dot submit. But if we if we reuse that class, it will reapply that class here. So I can add the class submit here to the buttons. So you remember on the contacts page we have made this submit button. So this submit button, I want to add the same styling to the other ones, and it's really easy to do that. And let's do it. So let's go to delivery, and let me click on delivery, make sure that I'm on delivery, and I can add the same class. So I can say class submit, and as you notice, it has added that class to this button. And right here I can add this to all of the other ones. I think it's not a good idea to reuse the styling right now, so I can do much better, because this one, you see these buttons are a little bit different. So instead of saying class submit, I can add class button dash order. All right, I can add that class name to all of my buttons. So let me copy that class name, and I'm gonna apply it to all of my buttons. All right, so we are ready to style the buttons now. So I'm going to styling, and right here at the very end I can say dot button dash order, and then you open 2 curly braces. So now the first thing that I do is usually I change the background color. So let me just change it to green yellow for now. And as you notice, my buttons are here. And let's center those. So I can say display block. All right. And width, I can add a width of 100%. So you see the width of my buttons are 100% of my screen, all right? So they'll always be 100%. And let's make sure that, I can make them about 80%. So 80%. So 80%. But as you notice, there'll be some space here, but I'm fine with it. And let me add margin dash right auto and margin dash left auto. So let's see if we can center them. Yeah, so now you see they are perfectly centered. All right, so I have 3 buttons, and it's always a good idea to add some logos underneath where it says order now. So I'm going to go to order now, for example, and I'm going to say listen sign image source dot / and these are the images folder. So I'm going to click on it, and we are going to go to logo.jpg. All right, so I have this image. I'm going to say alt logo, or I can keep it empty because you see this image will be just for making it look nicer. So I'm going to add a class name here, logo. All right, so class logo, and we are going to style this image. So inside of the styling.css, we are going to say dot logo. All right, so width 100 pixels and height 100 pixels. All right, and margin left and right, I'm going to add it here. All right, and the display block also, I'm going to copy it and paste it there. So you see I have that image there, and I'm going to add the same image to all of the others. So I'm going to copy this image, the logo image, and I'm going to place it underneath the H3 for all of my divs. Okay, you see I have 3 donuts here, and yeah, this is what I have. You see for the button, I can say, for example, you see this is the button order. Whenever I hover it, I want to change the color. So this is something that I have not used, and these are called the pseudo classes. So the pseudo classes, with pseudo classes, you'll be able to change the color based on hovering. For example, you see I have used it once with the navigation. You see when I hover over the navigation bar, it changes the color from white to yellow, and that's what I did with the hover. And let me take a look at the CSS. So you see I said navul lia then :hover. So that's how we are going to use the same thing with the same class here. So I'm going to just copy my button order styling, and I'm going to paste it here. All right, so this is the same thing, but except I'm going to add : then hover, hover. All right, so whenever I hover it, I want to change the color or the background color to red. So let's change it to red, and let's change the color to white. So color -ff. Okay, so now if I hover it, you see it's a lot nicer. So you see it says click to order. So you see right here, it's more interactive and it looks a lot nicer than the default color, right? So this is what we have so far. And let's see, what else can we do here? I think we can add some border around the logos, but that's not necessary because the background is already white. And I really don't like to have the same image for all of the logos, because each company should have a different or a unique logo. So that's why I'm gonna change those. All right, so I'll get some logos, some imaginary logos, and we can replace these images. All right, so let me just get rid of this empty space. All right, so now I'm going to go to File, Save, and let's take a look at what we have now. So let's start from the home page. So this is the home page. When you open it, you scroll down, and we have our 3 divs here. And you see it says order our finest donuts. And right here, you go to the album, and we have some nice donuts with the flour donuts, classics, and we have our finest hot chocolate. Also, we have the delivery page. So on the delivery page, we have 3 options. So that people can click on order, from, this is delivery. So you enter the address here, for example, 222 Albany Avenue. So Albany Ave, all right. And right here, you click to order, all right. So you just click on order, and it should take you to another page. And on the contacts page, we have this personal info. It's a basic form, and I have 5 input fields and a text area. All right, so this is what we have. And right now we will try to work on location page. So I will add some styling, and we will change the fonts and stuff like that, but I'm just gonna start with the pages I'm trying to finish, and then we will be able to continue our project and make it look nicer. So now we will work on our location page. So to work on our location page, we will have to close the delivery page up here, all right? And this is our CSS. So I'm gonna keep CSS style sheet open, and I'm going to click on Explorer, and I'm going to click on location. All right, so now it's time for location. So I'm gonna collapse the Explorer, and now we are going to replace this paragraph. All right, so I don't have anything in this page, so we will have to add some content. So I'm thinking of adding 2 columns. So to add 2 columns, I'm gonna add 2 divs. So I'm gonna add a div here. I'm gonna say class column left. All right, and I'm going to replace. I'm going to copy this actually. So I'm going to copy this and paste it another time. I'm going to change the class name to column right. All right, and let's add some content. So I'm going to say left column. All right, left column and right column. Right column. And as you notice, they are stacked. So let me go to styling, and you see I have to say column, and I should add the N here in the class name. Okay, so I'm going to copy the column left class name, and I'm going to go to styling.css. Right here, I'm going to the next line. I'm going to say dot column left. And the first thing that I do is I change the background color just to see what's going on in the background. So you see, this is the first column that we just selected. I'm going to copy this, and we're going to select the column right. So column right. Okay, so you see we have 2 columns here, and they are stacked because the width of both of them is 100%. So we'll have to divide these, if we want to cut it. All right, so it will be width 50%. So 50%, and the column right is also going to be width 50%. Okay, so you see now they are both stacked. So they are both stacked right now. And I want the column left to stay here, but I want column right to go right here. So to do that, I can come here and go to, add float. So float right. So you see, as I do that, it will go there, but you see, it does not go here. So in that case, I'll have to float the left to left. So float column left. And as I do that, you'll notice that I have two columns. All right. So now let's add text align center to both of them. So text align center to this one and to this one. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna get rid of the background color, and maybe I want to reuse the border that I have. So if I go to left, you remember, for the home page. So if I go to, yeah, this is the border that I want. So I'm going to copy the border and I'm going to add it to both of them. All right, so same border to both of them. So you see we have two columns here. Okay, so now instead of saying left column and right column, I can change that. So I'm going to add an H4 inside of the column left. So I'm going to say H4. Now I'm going to say info. All right. And this should be, I'm going to place a map here. So I'm going to say our location. Our location. Okay, cool. So that's what we have. But you see, I want to insert the age. Our location inside of the H4. So I'm gonna do that real quick. So H4, our location. Okay. So you see we have two nice basic titles. All right. So now for the one on the left, we'll add a UL or an unordered list or an ordered list to to see the info, and where it is our location, we can add a Google location. So to do that, I can open any browser and I'm gonna go to Google Maps. So Google Map. We can use the Google Maps APIs, but it takes a lot of time to request a key and something like that. I'll just mimic that. So we are going to a random place using Google Maps. You can go anywhere, but I'm gonna go Las Vegas, alright? So let's go to Vegas, and I'm going to, I don't know where this is, by the way. I have not been to Vegas before, but I'm gonna right click anywhere, and I'm going to say directions from here, and directions to here. So when you do that, you see where it says to here, it will show you the red dot. So if you click on it, it will show you that specific place. So you see it says West Sahara Avenue. So I'm going to click on share and then go to embed a map. So you see it will embed a map of that place. So you can change the map size. I'm going to click on this little where it says medium. You can click on small. It will add a smaller place. So you can click on copy HTML, all right, and you come here inside of your page. So you see where it says our location right here. I'm going below that, and I'm going to place that frame there. So you see we have a map, all right. So you see it has an address, and it has added that place to our web page. And let's imagine that this is our location. All right, it's a fake location, but you can add something to your web page that you're creating. This is how you add a Google map to your web page, by the way. Okay, so let's go to where it says info. So now let's go to where it says info, and we are going underneath it. So let's add some information here. So now I'm going to add another div here, right? And I'm going to call it info container. So info dash container. All right. So this will be the container that will hold some information, and inside of it, we are going to add two other divs. So I'm going to say div class info left. So info dash left. And this will be info dash right. So div class info dash right. Okay, and you see for the info left, I'm going to add phone number here. For example, I'm going to say phone. So I'm going to say phone, just like that. And right here, we are going to add a number. So I'm going to add a random number here. All right, so, okay, so now we have that imaginary number there. And let's make this phone bold. So I'm going to say B. So I'm going to add the B tag around it, and it will make it bold. You see the phone is bold, but I want the info left to go to left. So to make info left to go left, again, you will have to use the float. But because you see I have added the container here, so info dash container, I can select that. So I'm going to type info dash container, and I'm going to say display flex. So as I do that, you'll notice that it will simply place it next to each other. All right. And right now we can say, for example, justify content center, and it will center it for us. All right. So you see, I want to add some spacing or a colon right after the phone. So I can go to location, and I'm going to add a colon right after it. All right. Now let's add the space. So if you want to add a space here, you can press ampersand NBSP, and then you add a semicolon, and as you notice, it will add some space between it. All right. So that's what I have. Then I'm going to go to the next line. This is our address. All right, so it says address, but I want to move this one to, so I'm going to add a braid here between it, so it will go to the next line, and then address, and then right here I'm going to say address. All right, so I'm going to use the address tag, and right here you see I have the number. Change this to A. All right, H or EF, then TEL. All right. And then you add the number, so +1, and add a random number. All right. So just add a random number. Okay, just like that. And then we are going to basically close the A tag. And then you add the number, or we can say, for example, call us. And if somebody clicks on it, you see it should open the external, it should call us. And then you add this number here, basically. You add the same number right after call us, all right? So this is how you use the tel correctly. So you say less than sign A, then H or EF, then you type in TEL colon. So whenever you tap on it, it will just call, all right? So that was the tel that I was talking about, and you see this div has more space here, so we want to add some space, like more space here. We can go to our CSS, and it says column left, so I can add some height. So height about 400 pixels. So you see 400 pixels is it's longer than the one to the right, so we can add the same height to the other one too, so to the column right. All right, so you see they have the same height now. I'm going to save my style sheet, so I'm going to go to file and then save. Okay, so this is what we have, everybody. We have a basic address, and we have a phone number, and we have a random location. And if we go to home page, you see this is the home page that we have. Um, I'm gonna get rid of hours. I'm gonna move these hours to the locations page. So I'm gonna go to the index. So I'm gonna open the index.html because this is the main page, and I'm going to copy that UL. All right, or I'm gonna cut it. So I cut it. All right, it's no longer here on the index. So I'm gonna go to location.html, and I'm gonna place it right after the address. So you see where it says address. I'm gonna add another break, and I'm gonna place that there. So now let's go to locations, location.html. So you see I have that, but let me make some changes. So first of all, I don't want it to have this empty space. So let me change that. So where's my UL? Here's my UL. And I'm gonna get rid of this UL, alright? I'm just gonna keep it like that. So hours, then Monday to Friday, alright? So let me move this one here. Actually, let's make it a paragraph. I'm gonna just make it a regular paragraph. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of the UL. I don't want the UL at all. I'm gonna say hours. I can say hours. Alright, then colon. Then I want to go to the next line, so I can add a break. Then Monday to Monday-Friday. Alright. Then I want to go to the next line, so I'm gonna add another break. And you see what's going on here. So it says hours, then it goes to the next line. 10 AM. Alright, 10 AM to 10 PM. Alright, just like that. So a.m. Alright, just like that. Looks nice to me. So right here I can add, if I want to bold some parts of the text, there is something called the span. So I can wrap up the hours in the span element. Alright, so span, and I can put hours here. So hours, alright. So I'm gonna wrap it up in span, and I want the, well, no, this should be the days actually. Days of work. Alright, so these are the days of work. Alright, and then right after it, we have hours. So we are going to the next line, and then we are going to add another span, and we are going to say hours. Alright, hours, and then another break. I know it's a little bit complicated here because you see we have a lot of text, but it's not that complicated because you see we have a paragraph, and then we have a span. Alright, so we have a span here, and then we have a break that goes to the next line. You see it's the days of work, and we see it right here, days of work, and then it goes to the next line. So now what we can do is we can bold the text. So for example, right here where it says span, we can bold that. So I'm going to add a span here too that says hours. Alright, and I want it to go to the next line. Oops, I have it twice. Sorry. Apologize. So days of work, Monday to Friday, hours. Alright. So to make days of work bold, and because we have it in the span, we can go to the CSS. We can type in span. Alright. And then we can say font dash weight bold. And as I do that, you'll notice that they will become bold. All right, and that's basically it. Okay, and now right here we have that, and this is what we have. And let me change the background of the header. So we are going to change the background of the header. You see the background whenever you remember when I said that I was going to change the header image, and now I'm going to do that. So before I go, I want to make sure that I have all of my files saved. So I'm going to go to File and then Save All. All right. So let's see. So File and then Save All. Okay. So now we have everything saved, and let's go to styling.css. So I'm gonna close the location for now. So right now I want to change the image of the header. So you see I have this pink color image, so I want to get rid of it. All right, so I'm gonna change this image, and for right now I'll keep it like that. So I'm gonna get rid of the background image. I don't want it anymore, and I'm gonna get rid of the background color. All right, and then I'm going to change the color of the text to black. All right, so I want to be black. And I want to add the border that we have used. So I'm gonna copy the border. This is the border that we have been using, the 5 pixel solid gray. So I'm gonna add it right here. And as you notice, it looks nice around our header. So you see our header is nicer. And you know, there's a lot of space. So it has a lot of space around it. Let's get rid of that one too. So I'm gonna get rid of the padding top, and I'm gonna change the height also. So I don't want the height. The height was extra. So you know, just by looking at it, I think it's nicer to keep things simple. And this is what we have, everybody. So let me open the page on a browser. So I'm gonna copy the link here, and I'm gonna open, you can open any browser, and then you paste it here. Oops, I have not copied it, so let me just select it again, copy, and paste it here. Not copying for some reason. So let me select, Control C, and then paste it here. Okay, there we go. So if I press enter, it will show us our web page, and this is what we have so far. And I really want to change the text here, but it's fine. We don't have to worry about it. And this image is a little bit small, so I want to probably make it a little bit larger than 400 pixels. And this is what we have. This is the header. Then this is the navigation bar. If I click on album, so this is the album, and instead of album, I think I'll change it to menu. All right, because this is more like a menu. Let's do that. So I'll just do that in a second. And this is the location. So if I click on location, this is the font size is still a little bit small, but it's okay. We will add more font sizes and stuff like that, so don't worry about it. And we have not used any font families yet, and we will use a couple of fonts from Google. So if I go to delivery, you see it gives us this, and you see where it says deliver to, and you enter your address. So I don't want this, I want to make this find us, and you enter your zip code, and then it finds the location. So the closest location. All right. So we will add something like that, and then you should have like a search button here. But you see right here, we don't have a lot of content. That's why copyright on my footer is up here. So I want to make sure that I stretch these. All right. So we'll have to give them some height. And if I go to contact, this is the basic contact page, and as you notice, it looks nice, but you see it looks huge, and there is a lot of empty space around it. So I think the better way, and a better way, is to add a wrapper, so I can wrap all of my web page content inside of a div, and I can add a class name to it, so I can call it wrapper, and then I'm going to center it. All right, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that right now. So let's go back to VS Code, and I'm going to open index.html. Okay, and I'm going to go to the body. Inside the body tag, I'm going to add a div with a class called wrapper. All right, and I'm going to move the end tag of the div. So let me close the styling. All right, because now we are not going to work that one. Let me move this one here. Okay, so this is the div that I just made. So let me zoom in. Okay, so this is the div, and see it says class wrapper, and it has the end tag div. So I'm gonna cut that div. So right click and go to cut. All right, and then I'm going all the way down to the end of the body tag. You see, this is the end. This is my footer, and I'm gonna place it underneath it. Cool. So now let's do this for all of the other pages. So I have done the index. Now let's go to album, and I'm gonna do it right here. So I'm gonna add a div. All right, div with the class wrapper, and I'm going to move the end tag all the way to the end of the body. All right above the end of the body. Okay, so let's do it for the contacts also. So with the body, you add a div class wrapper, and you move the end tag all the way to the end of the body. So this is the end of the body tag. You see, this is the ending tag, and I'm going to place it here. I'll do it for delivery. So same thing. I hope this doesn't get dull for you, but this is how you do it. All right, so you wrapper, then you move the end tag all the way here. And I think we have one more page to go, the location. So the body, you add a div with a class wrapper, close it, and move the end tag and wrap everything right inside of that div. Okay, so now we have added the wrapper to all of our web pages. So if I click on home now, or right here on the browser, it should be the same thing. So now let's go to style. So style that we are going to style this now. So we are going to go to styling.css, and let me close these pages. Let me close all of my HTML pages, and I'm gonna click on styling and move it down here, so I'll have the browser on the right side. So now we are going all the way down, We are going to say dot wrapper. All right, and then we are going to give it a width. The width, I'll go about 900 pixels. And as I do that, you see some stuff will change. So you see, let me view it on our web browser. Let's see what happened here. So you see now our web page has aligned to the left, and everything is smaller. It's like a small box, and it's aligned to the left. So now I want to center everything. So to center it, we'll have to say margin dash left auto and margin dash right auto. Right? So margin left, right, auto, and then display block. So now, if we save the file, and if we take a look at the browser, you'll notice that our web page is perfectly centered. And now it looks a lot nicer, you know, even if you view it on a huge screen, it looks a lot nicer. And let me add a border around the wrapper. So I'm gonna go to that one. So let me go to the border. Where's our favorite border? Should be somewhere here. So there you go. This is the border. And I'm gonna add it to the wrapper. Okay, so if I save it and let's view it, so this is what we have, everybody. We have this page, and you see if we click on album, it's nicer. If you go to the location, looks a little bit nicer, you know, if you center the layout, all right, so if you center it, and you see we have a lot of empty space around it. It's okay, we will change that background color also. So now let's add a background image, and right here we are going all the way to the body where it says body. No, the body actually. So the body is the content, and we are going to say HTML. So we can type in HTML, all right, at the top, and then we can say background image. Then you type in URL, then two quotations, and dot /. So dot /, and you see it will show you the suggestions. So click on images, and then I have an image called wallpaper. So if I do that, if I go to file, save, you will notice that that image, you see that background image has been added. And if you go home, you see it's right there. So the background image is right there. And now you see we have this white color covering our background. So this is not what I want. I want the white color to be only applied to wherever I have the wrapper. So instead of saying instead of having the background color white to the body, I can get rid of the white color from the body. Right? So I'm gonna get rid of that, and I'm going to the wrapper. So where this is wrapper that we just added, and I'm going to say to background dash color, I can say #FFF. And if I go to file, save, and you see this is what I have now. This is a lot nicer, and we see our donuts around it. So I can click on album, and we have our album and the location, delivery, and contact. Of course, I will change this one as I have explained to you all. Alright? So let's go back to VS Code. Now we are going to go to the delivery page. So let me click on delivery, and let me expand the browser and click on delivery. Alright, so we want to style the delivery page. Alright, so before I continue styling, I'm going to open the delivery page. So I'm going to click on Explorer, and I'm going to click on delivery. Alright, just to look at the classes that I have given it. So you see we have deliver to, and I have given it a class called inline, and you see where it says enter your address. So right after that, I want to have a button here that says search. So I'm gonna do that. So let's add a button. So let me zoom out the code a little bit. Okay, so I want the button to be next to where it says enter your address. So right here, instead of saying deliver to, we are going to change this to zip code. All right, because you're going to enter your zip code. So zip code. All right, and you see right here we have an input, and it's a text area. So technically this is incorrect, And because this is an input field, and usually you place input fields inside of a form, but let's not worry about it. All right, so I know I have addressed this before, but I'm not going to worry about the form yet. And you see where it says zip code, and right here it says enter your address. I'm going to change the placeholder to enter your zip code. So zip code, all right? So you see it says enter your zip code, and right after it, I should have a button that says search. So let's add that. So we are going to say, we're going to add a button, all right? So just add a button, and I'm going to say class search dash button, all right? So search button, I'm going to type in search. And if we take a look at it, you'll notice that we have a button here that says search, basically. So now what we are going to do is we are going to style that button. So I'm going to copy this class name, and I'm going to styling.css. I'm going to type in dot, and I'm going to paste the name. All right. So I'm going to change the background color, and let me expand it so you can see it here. Okay. So you see, I'm going to change the background color. So background color to green. Actually, I'm going to add the same color of that says order. So you see where it says order? I'm going to copy that styling. All right. So I'm going to copy that background color too. So it will be background color green yellow. All right. And let's add some border radius. So I'm going to say border dash radius. I'm going to add about 30 pixels. Maybe it's too much, but I'm going to keep it like that. I'm happy with it. Okay. And this is what we have. It says search. And also we want to stretch these, where it says order, these ones. So I want to make this taller. So I want to make these columns taller. So let me take a look at them. So you see we have left, middle, and right. So we go and find those. I think we have selected them all at once somewhere. Yeah, we have them all right here. So I can say height. So height, colon, I can add 400 pixels. But you see it will not add any height there because we have forgotten the semicolon here. So if I add a semicolon right after the padding, and I want to make sure that I add the semicolon here too. So you see we have some height here. Okay, I'm gonna keep it like that, and I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save the delivery.html. So now I'm going to go to the browser, and let's see what we have. So we have this. All right, so we have these actually. You see, this empty space is fine. So remember that empty space is not your enemy, because you see, it's not a big problem if you have an empty space. So I'm going to make it about 450. All right, so I'm going to change the height to 450 pixels. Okay, so 450 pixels. And we have them right here, no problem. All right, so far you see this is not a big deal if you have empty space. It's all good. And right here you see I have search. I don't have the hover, so let me add the hover to that button, to the search button. So I'm going to copy this whole thing, and I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to add colon hover. All right, so hover, and then I'm going to change it to the hover effect. So you remember this is the hover effect. So I'm going to change the background color and the color. All right, so and I'm going to add it right here. So I'm going to replace these. Okay, so now we have a hover effect, and if I hover it, see, changes the color. All right, much nicer. So you see, this is what I have for my buttons. All right, so right now I think it's a good time to add some Google fonts to our web page, and let's do that. So now we will go to Google Fonts. So we'll open a browser and just type in fonts.google.com. All right, so once you type that in, you'll see that these are all of the fonts that you can use on your web page. I'm looking for something fancy for my header, so I will go with caveat brush, and I'm going to click on it. All right, so you see this is the font, and we are going to click on select regular. So you see right here it says select regular 400. So I'm going to click on that. All right, so when you click on that, it will show you the selected family, and as you notice, this caveat brush regular 400. All right, and let's go and look for another one for the body of our website. So I'm going to go back one step, and let me go. I want something that's not handwriting, so I'm going to click on reset, and I'm going to keep the serif on because I don't want the sans serif fonts. So I'm going to turn off everything else. So the one that I like is the Roboto slab. So I'm going to click on that one too. So we are going to scroll down, and we are going to select the one that we want. So I'm going to with something that's not too bold and not too thin. So I'm going to go with light 300. So this one is the one that I want. So I'm going to click on select a light 300. All right. So we have two of them selected. So now we are ready to apply these fonts to our website. So what I'm going to do is, you see right here it says to embed a font, copy the code into the head of your HTML. So we are going to basically copy this whole link, all right? Or you can click on this little thing and it will copy it for you. So we are going to go to our web pages, and you see I have the delivery.html open, but before I do that, I want to open other pages. So I'm going to open the album, the contact, the deliveries, the index, and the location. So let's see if they're open. They're not open yet, but we'll go one by one. So I'm going to index.html, and this is the head of our web page, all right? And we can place it right after the styling. That's what I do. All right, so I just pasted it there. I'm going to file, save. So now we have that in the index.html. Then we are going to close the index.html, and we are going to album. So in the album, we are going right after the styling and paste it. So save it with the file, save, and close it. Now go to the delivery. The delivery, we are going right after the styling again. Paste it, and go to file, save. And by the way that I'm pasting is I'm pressing Ctrl V. So if you're on a Mac, you press Command V, and if you are on a PC, you press Ctrl V to paste. All right. So this is the index, and we have it already here. For the location, this is the last page, so we are going to paste it here. All right. So if we save it, and we are going to close it. So you see now we have not yet applied the font, but we will add the font names here. So we are going to close the delivery.html, all right? I just want to open the styling.css. So I'm going to collapse my Explorer. I don't need it anymore. And let's go to the browser again. So you see at the top right, we have two fonts. We have the caveat and we have the Roboto slab. So these are the CSS roles to specify the families, all right? So you see, if you want to add the caveat brush, you copy it basically, copy the name, all right? So you just select it, highlight it, and you right click and click on copy. So this is the caveat brush. So let me just scroll up. So this one is Roboto, yeah. So Roboto is, Roboto is for the body text, and this is for the header. So we are going to take the caveat brush, all right, and we are going to apply it to the header. So where's the header at? It's at the top So this is the header, and if I just apply it there, you will notice that it will change it. It says welcome to my donut shop. So we have successfully applied a Google font here. And for the body, you see, for the other body text, I want to add the other font, which is the Robotus Lab. So I'm going to copy that. All right. I'm going to right click and copy. And the easiest way to do it is to open the body. I know we have deleted the body in the previous video, so I'm just going to type in the body and I'm going to apply it. Cool. So now you see we have a nice website. So you see we have a really nice font applied to our web page, and you see the text here is really nice and it's more readable. And this is basically how you can use Google Font on your web page. So this is basically how you can use Google Fonts on your web pages. And right here you see I don't have anything for my buttons, but I can easily reuse the caveat brush, right? So for the buttons, and I'm going to look for the buttons wherever I have a button, I can basically reuse that font. So let's go to the submit, for example. So I'm going to paste it in the submit here. So you see, if I go to the form or the contact page, you'll notice that the submit button has this fancy caveat brush font, and we are going to do it to the other buttons. So you see where it says order, button order, I'm going to add it there. And let's look for all of the other buttons. So for the search button also, we are going to add it there. So let's go and take a look at the search button on the delivery page. So you see it says search. It's really nice. And our buttons, you see they have this fancy font applied to it. All right. So we have successfully applied some Google fonts to our web page. And this is basically it. So let's view it on a web browser. I'm going to copy the link here, and I'm going to paste it here. Not caveat cursive. Okay, this should be it. So I'm going to paste it here. Okay, everybody. So this is what we have built so far. So you see we have built our header first, and then we added some content, and we have added some background images. I know I have made a lot of changes to the header, because you know it's like trial and error when you make a website. So when you design a web page is not easy, because everything on your website is a subject to change, and you always want to make it look nicer. So this is a very basic website, but I hope that you have understood how to build a basic website now. And I would like to thank everyone for subscribing to my channel. And in the next video, we will look at the small details. So we will try to, for example, you see there is a gap here that I want to remove it. So we will get rid of that gap. And also there are some other changes that we are going to make. For example, right here, you see it says album. Instead of saying album, I want to change that to menu, because you see these are the items on our menu. So we are going to change this. All right. So instead of saying album, we are going to change it to menu. All right. So now I hope that you are going to support me, and I hope that this video has been fun so far. I know I have spent a lot of time talking about some extra stuff, but I wanted to make sure that you understand every step. And of course, if you have not understood some parts of my coding, you can always go back and rewatch my video, all right? So you will get the hang of it. And I'm happy to announce that I'm going to be sharing the code with you all on my GitHub, all right? So we are not finished yet. Let's continue, and we are going to go to the VS Code, and I'm going to click on home here. So we will be on the home page, all right? And let me go to the end of my code on line 180. So now you see, if we take a look at the web page, you see that there is a little gap here. So there is a gap here. And also, if you look down, you see there is an empty space between the footer and the bottom of the website. So the fastest way to fix that is to go all the way up. Remember when we added the box sizing, border box? So we can say, we can add a property that says margin : 0. All right. So when you use 0, you don't use pixels, you just type in 0. And you see, if you go to File, Save, if you save it, and if you go to the URL, so let me view it. So I'm going to view it. You see now that gap is no longer there, and at the bottom, you see that it's, covers the whole browser. And let me go to the album. So you see, we are already on the album actually. So this is the home page, and this is the location. You see the location, we still, it's a little bit small, so we will need to add some height here to these divs, and we will fix that. So let me fix that real quick. Let me take a look at the left and the right. I think it was column left. Yeah, you see the height is 400. I can make it 600. So 600, and to the column right also, I'm going to basically add the same height to both of them. And if we save and take a look at it, you'll see that right now it looks a lot nicer. And if you go to delivery, we can do the same thing for the delivery. We can add more height here, and let's do that. So let's go to the 3 selectors for all of them. You see, this is the one, so I can say 600 pixels. All right, so save it and go to, you see that now it looks a lot nicer. And of course you can add more content here. It's up to you. I'll let you decide. And right here, if we go to the contact page, the contact has the same problem. So let's go to the form. I think I have the form selected somewhere, and let me find it. So if I press Control F, it will show you this finder. Or if you're on a Mac, you press Command F to see the finder, and I'm going to type in form. All right, so I have not selected the form at all, so I'm gonna make a new selector here at the end. I'm going to type in form and 2 curly braces. All right, and I'm going to add some height. Let me add about 700 pixels. So let's save this. So go to File, Save, and let's view it. So you see now we have covered that part. All right, I just want to make sure that don't be afraid of the empty space. So if you have some empty space here or there, it's not a big deal. So empty space is not your enemy. So you see we have started from 0 HTML, and we have built this basic website. So in my code, I have noticed that I have been using a lot of classes, and I'm going to use some IDs because at some point you will be asked to use IDs. So we will use a couple of IDs, and also right here we will change where it says album, we will change it to menu. So now let's go to VS Code, and on VS Code I'm going to open all of my HTML pages. So I'm going to start with the index.html, and basically I'm going to go to the file. So let me go to not the file, sorry. I'm going to the nav, So you see this is my navigation, and right here you see it says album.html. So I'm going to change the album.html to menu.html. So menu, all right? So now this link is menu.html, and I'm going to copy the menu.html from here. So I'm going to copy this a tag, and I'm going to replace my nav in all of the other pages. So this is the album. So let me open the album page, and let me go to the nav. So this is the album. I'm going to replace the album, and I'm going to add the new link to menu.html. So let me go to the contact, and I'm going to do the same thing. So we will change it to menu.html. And for the delivery, we will do it. Okay, and for the index, we already done the index, and we are going to the location, and this is the last one. So we are going to paste it here. Okay, so now we have updated our links, and let me go to file and save all. So I'll save all of my pages. So now I'm going to collapse the Explorer, all right? And I'm going to close all of my HTML pages here. So before I do that, let me go to the browser, and let's click on album. So you see when I click on album, it will say file not found. And do you know why? Well, because we have to rename the file. So let's go to the Explorer. All right, so this is the file that we want to rename. So now it's still album.html. That's why it says I cannot find it. So we are going to right click on album, and then we are going to go to rename. So now I can call it menu.html. And now if I go to my browser, you'll notice that if I go to the home page, you see it says the album is there. So if I click on it, it shows me the menu basically. All right, and I'm going to update this title here. This is album, and right here you see for the nav, even though I updated my nav, I'm not sure what happened. So let's make sure that, oh, I have not updated the text. So yeah, we'll have to do the text also. So you see, I'm going to index now, and instead of saying album, I'm going to say menu. All right, and now we'll have to do the same thing. So copy the A and paste it in all of the other pages. All right, so you see, instead of saying album, we are changing it to menu basically. So I'm gonna do the same thing for all of my pages. So I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is one more, the delivery. Okay, so now I'll go to file, save all, and now you see that says, you see this one says menu now. Okay, so it's much nicer than the album. So if we go to the menu, I think one of the pages have a different, yeah, the context has a different menu. And let me just make sure that I have added the fonts there. So let me just go to, let me just take a look at it one more time. So you see this one is a context.html, but you see the menu is the default. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link. All right, so I'm going to copy this link for the Google fonts. All right, I'm going to copy that. I want to make sure that I added to the contact page. So let me go to contact, and at the top we are going to place it here. All right, so right after the styling. If I save it and if I take a look at it, you see that it will be applied here. Okay, one more thing. Let's go to menu. All right, so for the menu, I don't want it to say album here anymore. I want to say menu. So let me go to the menu and let me change that. So this is the one. I'm going to say menu. All right, So save it and take a look at it. There you go. We have the menu there. And I don't want this paragraph here that says welcome to our donut shop. So I'm going to get rid of that. So let me just get rid of that paragraph. All right. Go to file, save, and take a look at it. You'll notice that that extra paragraph is gone. And right now, I think we are going to use at least 4 IDs. So now if we take a look at our code, you'll notice that I have used the class wrapper here, but I'm not going to touch that one. Actually, that's going to be a huge problem. But you see, I'm going to scroll down and take a look at some parts of my code where I can add the IDs. So let me go to the contact page. All right, so on the contacts page, I'm going to take a look at this submit button. So you see it says submit. So instead of saying class submit, I can say ID equals to submit. All right. So ID equals to submit and class equals to submit. Well, we have used one ID there, right? So you have to have IDs for each input field. So for the first name, I'm going to say ID equals to F name for first name. All right. And I'm going to copy the ID so it will make it easier for us. But let me zoom in. So and let me collapse this. Let me collapse the Explorer. Okay, so it says last. So for the last, we're going to say ID equals to L name for last name. And for the city, I can say ID equals to city. All right. And ID equals to state. So we have used 4 of them. All right. And then I'm going to give it to the ID to the form. So I'm going to say zip code. Zip code. Okay. And for the text area, I'm going to say message. All right. So ID equals to message. And right here, you see it says, by the way, the order of placing the attributes doesn't matter. So for example, I can have placeholder here after the columns or the columns before it. It doesn't matter. All right. So the order does not matter. And I'm going to add an ID here. I'm going to say, for example, message. All right. So we have added some IDs to our website also. So this is how you use the IDs, and we are going to change the titles also. So I wanted to make sure that I change the titles. So let me go to index.html. So on the index.html, we are going to change the title. So you see it says My Donut Shop. So this is the first title that appears at the top on the browser. So it's this one up here that says Welcome to My Donut Shop. Or when I click on it, you see on home, for example, it shows My Donut Shop. But if I go to the menu, you see it says album. So I want to change that. So I'm going to go to the title for the menu. So let me close the styling. And let me go to the menu. So menu.html is right here. And I'm going to change where it says title album. I'm going to change that to menu also. All right. So now I'm going to save. And I'm going to do it for the contacts also. So My Donut Shop -contact us. Okay. And for the delivery, we are going to say, for example, My Donut Shop -delivery. All right. So delivery. Okay. So I have done that for the contact, delivery, the contact, and the menu, location, and this one you see you just have a basic title for the main page. Okay. And there is one more thing. So there are some other meta tags that you should add to your website. So before I end this video, I just want to talk about the meta tags. The easiest way to use a meta tag is to go to a browser and go to w3schools.com, and right here just type in meta tags, all right, and press search. So you see right here, it will show you the first result that says HTML meta tag. So the metadata basically is a description of your HTML page. So we have used the first one that says carset UTF-8. It was already added by VS Code and it's right here. So we have talked about this at the very beginning of our video. And right here, if we take a look at it, you'll notice that there are some other ones. So you see this one is description, and these are the keywords, and the author, and the viewport. So we already have used the viewport, but we are only going to be using the ones in the middle because we have not used them and I want to use them now. So I'm going to right click on it and copy these, all right? And I'm going to paste it in the head of all of my pages. So you see this is the index.html, and this will be, for example, the description is going to be my donut shop, all right? So my donuts shop. Of course, you are going to give it hot chocolate. All right. And the author, you see, this is the author. So because this is like a commercial website, I'm not going to use the author here. But if your website is about you, for example, you can add your name here. This is content. So you're going to replace the content with your name. All right. But I'm going to get rid of that one. And now we are going to copy these meta tags, all right? So I'm going to copy these and place it in underneath of my other meta tags on other pages. So I have placed it on locations.html. Now we are going to the menu, the contact, and on delivery, all right? Cool. So now we are going to save these. All right. So I have saved all of my HTML pages and we are going to view it. So we have made some basic changes. So you see, we only have changed the menu. All right. And that was the only change that we have made. And also I have removed the paragraph, the extra paragraph, you remember. And this is basically it about this video. So I hope that this video was helpful, everybody. And if you want to send me a private message, you can join me on Discord, all right? So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And thank you all for being here. And thank you all for watching my video. And in the next video, I'm thinking of making this website responsive to make it look nicer on other devices such as a phone or an iPad or something like that. All right. So if we view it on a smaller screen, it might look different. It's always a good idea to make your website responsive. But right now, I'm going to stop here and I'll see you all in the next videos.